everyone. My name is Jalay Pandya, and on behalf of Faber Infinite, let me welcome you all. Let's start today's webinar. And this webinar is talking about how you can maximize your profits through sustainable improvement. My name is Jalay Pandya, and I am founding partner and director at Faber Infinite Consulting. And my core area is to support organizations to maximize their profit through sustainable improvement. Let's begin today's webinar. To begin with, let me just help you to familiarize with webinar control. This is how your screen will look like. If you want to ask any question, click here at Q&A, type your question, and towards end of the session, I will definitely help you in terms of answering your question. If required, we may also use certain polls. So based on that, you can answer. If we create a poll, maybe you will get a pop-up like this, and you just have to select one of the answers. And if you have any doubts, you just raise your hand at appropriate time. I definitely answer your question. So let's begin. So to begin with, I would like to share a story of my dear friend. And for the lack of name, let's call him Mr. Big Boss. So Mr. Big Boss runs a reputed corporation. He runs a kind of stable business. Throughout his career, he is profitable enough. But recently, he is struggling with poor profitability. He is a bit distressed, he is a bit confused, he don't know everything is going well, but then there is a very poor profitability he is going through. He tried to analyze what are the core reasons, and what he realized is that these are the couple of core reasons. There's a fierce competition in the market because there's a sudden change in landscape of the market. There are serious alignment issues. The product quality recently what they are producing is not good. The delivery runs are very poor and the cost is much higher. All these things are creating lots of pressure on profitability, and that is why my friend Mr. Big Boss is not happy. Now, if you go back and reflect to your own organization, I am sure there are a couple of problems like my friend Mr. Big you are also facing. And to understand that problem more in detail, what we have to do is we have to go a step back and understand that what exactly is happening right now. So historically, there are two types of markets. One, we call it as a seller's market. Maybe it's a story of maybe a kind of 80s or 90s where there are only few players in the market, and then the sellers or the manufacturer used to have a healthy profit margin because it's more or less a kind of monopolistic market. But if you look here in today's scenario, when the competition is fierce, and then the same product is getting manufactured or offered by multiple of companies, slowly it is becoming a buyer's market. So slowly and gradually it is buyer who is dictating your price of your product, and that is what is creating tremendous pressure on your profitability. So gone were the days when there was sort of a monopolistic market and you used to command the price. Now the control has shifted to buyer's hand. And in today's world, what we call it as the customer is the king, because everybody is offering the same quality, everybody is fighting for the same chunk of the pie. So end of the day, who is beneficial? It is the customer. We can see various examples, like there is a recent war in telecom. Everybody is offering the same thing. So end of the day, who is beneficial? It is customer. And now in this scenario, when the profit margins are not healthy, and on the other side, the rates or the overheads are going up and up, definitely it is going better profitability. So that's the core reason of having less profit. Now, if there is less competition and then there are multiple players offering the same product, how can you thrive in this scenario where it's a buyer's market? There's lots of competition. So, to achieve the leadership in that market, you need two things. What we call it as QCD, or quality, cost and delivery. What does it mean is that you should offer a best quality of product or services at a least possible cost or at a cost effective rate, and at the same time you have to ensure on time, in full, error free deliveries. If you can take care of these three elements, definitely your customer would be delighted, and that brings in sustainable profit. Because gone were the days when we were talking about customer satisfaction. Satisfaction is more of a 90s word which says that customer will be with you until the time he doesn't have any other option. And if that is the case, the moment he has a better option, automatically he will type of going to try the another option. So to avoid that, what you have to do is you have to extra mile, you have to ensure best quality at a least minimum cost and on-time delivery to delight the customer and retain the customer. So when we talk about quality, cost and delivery, most of you are aware of it, and that was also the dilemma of my big boss. So what he told me is that we have tried everything to achieve QC or quality, cost, delivery, whether you call it as operational excellence, whether you call it as a lean manufacturing, or whether you call it as a Six Sigma. We have tried everything, but end of the day, we are failing miserably to change the mindset of our people, and that is what is kind of making it difficult for us to achieve that cost leadership. Now what to do? So there was a professor from US, the man who gave that success formula to overcome that resistance, to overcome that change. His name is Professor Tim Noster. He is a professor at University of Pennsylvania, and Professor Tim Noster has given us the success formula. So what that success formula is? So as per Professor Tim Noster, what he said is that if you want to ensure a long-term sustainable healthy profit, what you have to do is you have to manage the change successfully. When I say manage the change successfully, I am sure every organization is going through certain amount of change management. If you handle it well, the sustenance will come and that results in sustainable profit. Otherwise, like my friend Mr. Big Boss, you fail miserably. So, how to manage change successfully? To manage the change successfully, there are 5 key ingredients. And what are those? As per Professor Noster, what he says is, what you need is right vision, skills, incentives, resources, and action plan in place. If these 5 things are balanced, and if these 5 things are there, then automatically you will have sustenance and you will have sustainable profits. So let's look at each of them and understand that if one of these is missing, what will happen? So let's talk about vision. As I was mentioning that vision, skill, incentive, resources, and action plan are the cornerstone of achieving profit. Let's say if your vision is missing. When I say vision, here I would like to make it clear that I am not only talking about the organization's larger vision and mission, which is generally remain in the paper or in the notice board of most of the organizations, but even a short-term vision of achieving something. If you try and embark on any change management journey without a clear vision, what will happen is there is lots of confusion at each level. Everybody are getting confused at which direction we are headed, and we are not aware that what is the right things to do, and nobody has an answer. So it is the most dangerous thing, not having the clear vision. How can you ensure the correct vision? So we at a Faber Infinite, over the period of time, what we have done is we have developed a detailed framework. We call it as a Lighthouse Framework. This is a proprietary framework which helps you to visualize and understand where you want to be.
It will help you to identify the real potential of the organization.
The Lighthouse Framework, along with our structured alignment and analysis process, will help you to prioritize that which direction to go, where the low-hanging fruits are, and at the same time, how I'm going to achieve result by aligning my team. Once you have
clarity about the vision, once you have done that diagnostic study through alignment and analysis exercise, what I always recommend to most of
owners like you is that to internalize your initiative, to drive it across the hierarchy, you have to slowly and gradually evolve a kind of a local brand. When I say local brand, it could be anything. Like I'm sure most of you have heard about TPS. What TPS is? It is Toyota's production system. So they are using an acronym of TPS.
Similarly, one of our clients, they really localize the brand and they say, okay, we want to call this initiative as Parivartan,
which is understood by each and every member of the organization. That's what we want to achieve. So having, kind of an internalizing and giving a name to your journey or a brand to your journey is very important to ensure that quick buy-in at all levels. So everybody understands what we are going to do. And last but not least, as a management, please show your commitment. Show your commitment by promoting your vision across the organization by various means. Whether it should be a poster of what we want to achieve, or some kind of a contest, or maybe some giveaways, some pocket cards, whatever you feel like. Please internalize this brand and kind of share your vision, and it should be a kind of a common vision across the hierarchy. If that is there, then definitely there won't be any confusion and everybody knows which direction we are moving forward to. Now let's move to the skill part. So let's say if everything is there but the right skills are missing, then what will happen is there is a lots of anxiety among the management, among the decision maker, that yes, we want to do so many things, but what will happen is my people are not competent enough, or maybe I don't know whether how they will take it up. Maybe my money will go to the dustbin. So there is a lots of anxiety when the right skills are not there. So as a leader, what you have to do is you have to kind of start with a kind of an objective skill gap analysis. At Faber Infinite, recently we have developed a kind of a web-based tool which is called Prisma Skill Gap Analysis. That will definitely help you to quickly understand that where to stand in terms of skill of each and every person. It is very important to impart right training to the right person, because most of the time this entire exercise of designing a training calendar becomes futile because of lots of subjectivity. People are not assessing what is the current skill inventory we have, and we can just based on our gut feeling, we keep on sending people to certain training programs, and the right skill is not getting imparted to right people. So even after investing money in training, the organization is not getting the clear picture. That's where the Prisma will definitely help you in terms of identifying who is required, what type of skills. At the same time, one of the research which suggests that, as we are also saying, seeing is believing, as per the science, whatever you can see, whatever you can experience through your five senses, there is a chance of retaining that information up to 70%.
That's a fantastic number, and that is why whenever you train your people, you always use simulations, some experiential learning whenever possible. And
what is most important is that the evaluation is not one-time activity. You should have a clear calendar. There should be a periodic evaluation. You can use a Prisma test to identify from where or maybe which milestone we have achieved. And more important is, we should all learn that. I know it's a cliche phrase, but still we all have to learn new things, unlearn the old paradigm and keep on learning until we get a kind of certain skill. So learn, unlearn and relearn is very important. Now let's move to a kind of incentive. Now it's a human tendency.
When we talk about incentives, why it is important? Because whether it's me, you, or your workmen on the ground, if you give them something extra to work upon, the first question directly or indirectly comes is that what is in it for me? Why I should do it? I'm getting paid for some other work. Why I should contribute in your other improvement activity?
So if that clarity about incentive is not there, there will be lots of resistance at each and every level of the organization. Why I should do it? As simple as why I should do 5S. I'm not here to do 5S. I'm here to do something else. So if that incentives are not there, there is a lots of resistance at each level. And how to overcome it? How to avoid that resistance? By establishing objective KPIs and KRA through Prisma PMS module. Most of the time, though we are saying
we have an objective PMS, it is actually a subjective. We said, okay, you rate this person on a scale of 1 to 10,
that also includes some amount of subjectivity. So to avoid that, we created over the period of time based on our own experience working with more than 200 corporates, that how can we design an objective performance management system
which is purely based on the key performance indicator or KRAs. So it gives definitely kind of create a transparent system, and at the same time you have to do is you have to also consider department or organization performance
as per the hierarchy. So what I'm trying to say here is that it is important while we are designing a structured reward and recognition mechanism, it is important based on my hierarchy. Higher I am in the hierarchy, there should be more weightage of my department or organization performance and lower weightage to my individual performance. If I am on a lower part of the hierarchy, it should be other way around to give everyone a fair treatment. And based on this, we have to establish a transparent reward and recognition mechanism. Let me share one important lesson what my father taught me. One fine day, me and my father went to a restaurant,
and what he has done is, the first thing he has done is he removed a 100 rupee note, and even before he placed the order, he handed it over
to the captain or the person who is taking order. And what happened is, throughout the time we had our dinner, there were 2-3 guys always moving around us. They were ready to serve us.
They were having smile on their face. Everyone was happy, and
they look forward to a customer like us. What does it mean? It means simple. When you talk about reward and recognition, you anyway going to give at the end of the service. But if I make it clear from the beginning, everybody should look forward to. Let me take another example. We are working with one of the organization, and even before we started the kind of projects, we have designed a structured reward and recognition mechanism, and then we said is that these are the projects, these are the KPIs, KRAs you have. End of the day, that project will become number 1 These are the people, they will go to some holiday destination, say for example Goa. And believe me, the employee engagement has increased by 60%. Because that big picture was in front of me, it was translated, it was clear that if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, this is what I'm going to get. And that helped us kind of evaluate any concern which was there in the system. And more importantly, promote healthy competition. As and when possible, involve family. I have experimented this personally. That in the same organization where there was of the project, we actually invited their family members. And this particular team members, they said in front of the family when the was there, when the kids were there, that if we win, we are going to Goa. And believe me, there was a lots of positive from family itself that are we going to Goa? Where do we have reached? Can I get a chance? Are we going to win? And that promoted a healthy competition. So that family aspect, the social aspect is equally important when you are designing an incentive system. Now let's move to resources. Let's say if you have everything but the resources are not enough or the resources are missing, there is a kind of confusion. What kind of confusion? We always say, okay, I want to do so many things, I have 10 ideas, but then I do not have enough resources. How I am going to achieve my targets? How I am going to achieve my KPIs? So if I do not have a kind of enough resources, that confusion and frustration. I think frustration is the right word. So that brings the frustration that when the resources are not there, there's lots of frustration. So how to ensure the right resources? First of all, as a leader, please show commitment. Please show commitment that yes, if you want anything, I'm just an email away, I'm a phone call away, and if your demand is legitimate, I'll ensure that you get the right resources. Plan judiciously as per the alignment and analysis report. When we are going through this alignment and analysis study, it's a detailed analysis of what do we want, how we are going to plan the resources. Please use it as a kind of a reference and plan it judiciously. More important is establish daily work management. It's a very powerful tool. It will help you to plan efficiently. Use tier-based DWM for a quick support. Whether a supervisor can support their co-worker, or maybe manager can support supervisors, or maybe the leadership team can support managers. Anywhere there is a lack of resources, they can quickly raise the issue as per their tiers, and automatically it is getting quick support. So it is very important to have a tier-based DWM. Now moving back to kind of action plan. This is the most important thing. Most of the companies, we say, okay, I have big visions, people are using jargon like big, hairy, audacious goal. But then when it comes to execution, we don't know we are failing. You know why they are failing? Because if the action plan is missing or action plan is not up to the mark, there is a false start of this entire journey. And that's the most dangerous thing to happen. So, how to ensure the right action plan? Start with end in mind. Whenever you design an action plan, there should be 3 things which should be very clear. What is going to be done, by when I am going to complete it, and who will take a responsibility to monitor the task. It is very important to have these 3 things in any action plan. Plan the smallest action possible with clear responsibility. If you have a larger project, larger task, divide into the smallest actionable point and allocate a clear responsibility that what at what time. Use visual accounting board. It's a very, very powerful tool. It is also part of the daily work management framework, which can bring a kind of a clear ownership of every task. And because it is visually available to everyone, there is also a peer pressure which helps you to perform the task. And most important is you should have a kind of a mechanism where you can flag any delays. As people are always saying that, if you delay it a lot, you are not doing anything, but you are just doing post-mortem. So rather than waiting for 6 months, 3 months review, why can't we have a clear mechanism? Why can't we establish a kind of an escalation matrix in case of non-adherence, so we can quickly raise the flag and quickly kind of rewire the entire thing, and there are good chances that we can achieve our target. So believe me, if you want to sustain anything, if you want a sustainable profits in today's world, you need these 5 things: vision, skills, incentive, resources, and action plan. That will definitely lead to a kind of a sustainable profit. So if, as Professor Noster rightly mentioned, if you can able to manage the change successfully, which is not easy, but I'm sure with the tips which I have given it to you, now it becomes very clear for you that how to manage the change successfully. And if you can manage the change successfully, and I'm sure my good friend Mr. Big Boss will also have learned out of it, and if you can able to do it properly, definitely you can sustain profit. So with this, I would like to share my coordinates with all of you. In case you have any query, any doubts, anything, you can call me on this number. You can email me at my email ID Jalay, JALAYP@faberinfinite.com. You can reach me at Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever you prefer. I would be very happy to help you in any queries, any doubts you have. I'm just an email or a phone call away. So with this, before we end our webinar, I would like to leave you with this note of what JP Morgan has said in the past. What he said is that the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you are not going to stay where you are. That's what JP Morgan says, and I think it is applicable in today's world as well. So you have to decide that you are not going to stay back in that vicious cycle of lower profitability. I'm sure you will manage the change successfully and you will have a sustainable profit. Thank you very much.